Yes, people, welcome back to the channel where today we are talking about West Ham United. You've been screaming for someone to come through this transfer window. You've been screaming for quality. Well, the news that is coming out today is positive. The news that is coming out today is talking about someone that has the potential to be a quality player, and it is Southampton's Mateus Fernandes, who is set to join the club on a long-term deal. And you know what? West Ham are crying out for a midfielder. They're crying out for changes. They're crying out for energy. The fans are becoming irritated, and even neutrals watching a team like West Ham and seeing them suffer like this is not exactly the type of team you want to see suffering. Everyone likes a West Ham competitive team. They can cause an upset. They've got great fans. They've got a stadium that, yes, it's a bit too modern, but still they can make it an atmosphere in there if they wanted to. But so far this season, it hasn't been done. And with a few days left of the window, Graham Potter needs signings. And it looks like the talented 21-year-old midfielder Mateus Fernandes is set to join the club. As you can see, West Ham are pushing for an agreement with Southampton for Mateus Fernandes. Believe that 35 million plus significant add-ons can get the deal done. Confidence that he will sign despite late interest from Frankfurt. Well, if I was West Ham, it's clear as day. It's exactly the type of player that West Ham need walking through their doors after the disastrous start they've had this season. And look, I'm going to be completely honest. I am a Man United fan, as you can see with my pillow behind, but I watch a lot of European football, and I do watch a lot of mid-table, you could say lower Premier League teams, of course. And when I watched Southampton last year, one thing that I will be very honest about is Mateus Fernandes. He was one of the top three players in that team. You could see he has the class and the potential to remain in the Premier League. And when the season ended and they went down, I actually had a chat with my friends in the group chat, and I said that Mateus Fernandes, he has to stay in the Premier League. He has to stay in the Premier League. He was too good to be playing in the Championship. Absolute no-brainer. And now he's going to have his perfect opportunity to do that, because this guy, for a 21-year-old player, is very, very, very mature. I like the way he played for Southampton last year. He was kind of like the talisman in midfield, the driving force. He was the person that was trying to get them up the pitch, be combative, be energetic, try and create, try and score. And look, he played a lot of games for Southampton last year in the Premier League. He played 36 games, got 2 goals, 4 assists. But please ignore the stats. It's not about 2 goals, 4 assists. I don't like stat padding. It's talking about him as a player. And look, he's played for the Portugal under-21 setup 25 times, in 2025, 3 times this year. So when you're looking at him and what he can do and the quality he possesses, Portugal obviously value him at an international level because he's part of the under-21 setup. He played for Southampton 36 times last season in the league. Despite what manager it was and what managerial changes they had coming in, he was a reliable part of the team. He was a mainstay. And it shows that consistency as well, because in the Premier League, you have to be robust. You have to be strong. You have to be capable to play every week. And he's shown he can do that at a Southampton team that, one, were not really winning games. 2, they were relying on him a lot. And 3, the way they played with that energetic sort of passing style and trying to press, you need to be dynamic and athletic. And when you look at that Southampton team, it just lacked the quality. So he's shown that he can compete in the Premier League. He can play the amount of games that is there demanding. And already in the Championship so far, he has played the first 3 games for Southampton. He's got an assist. But again, Southampton haven't started off the best they could. But now it's about Mateus Fernandes saying, right, do you know what? I know that I'm good enough to play in the Premier League, and I now want to make that move. And I think this suits West Ham to perfection, because for me, when you look at West Ham and what they're doing at the moment, they're playing a back 3 with the wing backs. They're playing a 2-man midfield, and they've got the 3 attackers in terms of Bowen, potentially Fulkrug, and Paqueta, right? But that midfield, I'm sorry, is simply not good enough. James Ward-Prowse, you're a fabulous dead ball player. You know, free kicks, corners, you're a major threat. Everyone knows that. Everyone can see that. Thomas Soucek, you're now 30 plus. You know, you had your peak period in the Premier League. Yes, we know you're physical. Yes, we know you're good in the air. Yes, we know you can come up with big goals. But I'm sorry, in the Premier League, to survive and compete at the highest level, you need technical controlling players that can at least really get into that game, help you dictate it, help you create chances, help you be competitive. And I'm sorry, with Soucek and Ward-Prowse, West Ham just aren't going to be competitive. We've seen already against Sunderland, they got defeated 3-0. Against Chelsea, I think it was 5-1. You know, it was so easy to play through their midfield. The lack of legs, the lack of athleticism, the lack of control when they have the ball. It's simply just not good enough. And I do think that is something that West Ham have needed to sharpen up on over the previous seasons, to be fair. The legs, the dynamicness, the athleticism midfield. And now, when you look at the formation, like I just said, they're playing with Soucek and Ward-Prowse. Mateus Fernandes, 100% comes into this team as a starter. It's a no-brainer. There's no way that they could sign a player as talented as this and not bring him immediately into the starting 11. You know, he has a lot of strengths, which is the high pressing. Yeah. So when it comes to high pressing, obviously you've got Paqueta there, you've got Jared Bowen. It allows West Ham to get further up the pitch, try and intimidate the opponent, trying to get the ball back. You've got someone with legs in there. That is something that Mateus Fernandes 100% can provide and give you. And he can play for long periods. He's not getting subbed off in the 60th, 70th minute. He lasts for 90 minutes. So this is a perfect type of player in terms of the midfield legs that West Ham need. His long balls, he's got very good long balls as well. So when you're looking at players over the top like Fulkrug or a Jared Bowen, or even trying to get Diouf in the fullbacks, pushing forward, he has got a nice long ball in him. And I think that is something that West Ham will probably try and use in transition, because they're likely to sit back and let teams have the ball, try and contain them, and then get the ball and pinch it and go. And someone that can deliver good long balls, obviously Paqueta is good with the passing. Now Mateus Fernandes, Ward-Prowse can obviously hit a good pass at times as well. It gives them a little bit of another dimension. And I think one big thing in midfield that West Ham have lacked, and something that Soucek and unfortunately James Ward-Prowse do not provide, that is the tackling part of the game. You need someone in there that can get stuck in. You need someone that's able to get the ball back. You need someone that's able to compete physically, get about the pitch. And Mateus Fernandes can do that. Yeah, he's not the biggest type of player. He's not 6'1", 6'2". He is more on the smaller side. However, when you've got a bit of that bite in you and you've got that competitive edge, it doesn't matter about your size. People can see your fight on the pitch. People can see your willingness to go out there and do something. Do you know what I mean? And West Ham right now are crying out for someone that can just do something, because they need to start winning games. The manager is under pressure. The team is under pressure. Jared Bowen is now having to fall out with fans. He's having to go and speak to them after the full-time whistle in the Carabao Cup. It's just simply not good enough. And I know the ultimate thing would be a change of ownership at West Ham, but unfortunately, that is just not going to happen. So you're going to have to see if you can get any signings in through the window before it closes in a few days' time. And it looks like Mateus Fernandes is going to be that first one. And I do think that this is going to be a big signing, because now I think this gives you tactical versatility. I think you can now go away from the back three if Graham Potter decides to do that. And you can go to a 4-3-3, and you could potentially have Paqueta and Mateus Fernandes as 2/8. Now, I think that is a great option. If West Ham can go out and get another forward or winger, and then it allows you to put Fernandes and Paqueta as 2/8, get someone in the number 6 role, whoever you think that's best suited, and then you can have Bowen, striker, and a winger or something like that, then I think West Ham can change his team around. I think 3 players for West Ham really work. Getting a midfielder, maybe 2, and getting an attacker in. It just allows you to have a different variety of formations with the back 3 or the back 4, because I'll be honest with you, Graham Potter has not got a lot of time. And you need to bring in someone with quality as well. We're not talking about players that you're bringing in that are just coming in for the sake of coming in. You need players that can actually start. You need players that can actually come in and make a difference. And that is why I definitely think Mateus Fernandes is going to be that guy. And look, if I'm honest with you, when you look at his potential as well, I think that he's going to have a lot of sell-on potential. Now, look, I'm not trying to say that he's coming in just to be moved on, but when you look at West Ham and the potential they can get from players that come in and you sell them for more, Mateus Fernandes is the perfect type of player that would suit that criteria. Coming in at 21 years of age for around 35 to 40 million. If he does well and he does go on the upward trajectory that I believe that he can, you could then be looking at getting 70 million, 75 million plus in today's market in the future, because I do believe that he's a good player that is going to be a success at West Ham. Unless all of a sudden you fall off a cliff and you get relegated, then I'm sorry, but then players have release clauses. Players will go for cheaper because you're not competing in the Premier League. But in terms of this signing, and when you look at the midfielders he's replacing in Ward-Prowse and Soucek, this is a big upgrade. This is an immediate starter. It gives you now tactical versatility. It now allows players like Paqueta to now probably believe a little bit more that, okay, I've got some sort of support. Because when you're looking at Bowen and Paqueta, two very good players, I'm surprised that none of them have handed in a transfer request. I'm surprised that none of them have looked to leave, because West Ham are in freefall. And it's sad to say it, but they are relegation candidates this year if something doesn't change dramatically quick. So, yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts on this one, because I think personally, Mateus Fernandes is a great signing. I think at 21 years of age and what I saw from him at Southampton, Portugal under 21 international, this guy is only heading upwards. And I think it's exactly what West Ham have needed in terms of the midfield, the athleticism, the speed, getting around the pitch. I think it makes them far more competitive, but the job is not finished. West Ham will need at least 2 or 3, 4 more players. And I don't think they're going to get them all done this window, but they need to get more players in. Otherwise, they're definitely looking at relegation. But for me, Mateus Fernandes and what he can give them is a very, very big signing. And I am surprised that no other teams in the Premier League, or if they have not come in for him. Guys, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. West Ham, you have got a top player with top potential, but you need to now get the best out of him and start getting the best out of this squad. Bless up.